welcome to another episode of Mark in the Morning.
Bicycles and That's Homeroom.
And what do we have for everyone today, Mark?
Wow, new tool.
New tool. Well, an old tool converted into something new.
Yeah,
How's
it's
that?
like reborn.
Reborn, yeah.
We're going to show what was known as the Wimba Voice Authoring tool.
Correct.
Is now called the Wimba Voice Everywhere tool.
Yeah. Well, it's still called the authoring tool, but it's called Voice Everywhere because literally you can record your voice anywhere now in Blackboard just about.
Maybe they should call it Voice Anywhere.
I know.
They called it Voice Everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to call it.
Yeah, so if you hear us saying Voice Everywhere, just remember we're referring to the tool that used to be called the Wimba Voice Authoring, which is still sometimes called that. So those two terms are pretty much the same.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
It's a way to record your own voice so your students can listen to it.
Correct.
But we'll show you some other ways to use it as well.
So let's first of all check out the old way of using the voice authoring tool.
Okay. So
and some of its limited capacity.
Right. So if you'd used it before, all the Wimba Voice tools in Blackboard are under the Add Interactive Tool drop-down box. So they're right towards the bottom. They all begin with voice.
Yep.
You want to add some voice so your students can hear you speaking. You go to Wimba Voice Authoring. We always present it. It's quick, simple, easy to use. You hit record your voice.
Put a title in, that's it. But that's all you can do. Just basically one instructional element, which is audio.
Yes. And you click submit, and it creates sort of like an additional item, right? In your lesson down here in its own little segment.
Yep.
That's kind of what it does.
That's it. That's all it did. And it was great. I mean, it was a great way to get audio right into your course, giving you some different learning styles and so forth like that.
So the constant request from teachers was, let's say I'm using it for something like IEP adaptation, right? And I have a sentence, and I want a student to be able to click play and have that sentence read to them. The problem is I can't put the player like inside the sentence.
Right. Or even, for example, the enduring understanding that you have there. What if I wanted to actually put the recording of that enduring understanding within that item? Having multiple elements, some text and audio.
Yeah, so they might even do it 3 ways, like play this statement, play this statement, play this statement.
Correct.
And you can't do that in this method because it creates one single player.
Correct. So let's go to the new way then, Mark. Okay, and let's kind of show, first of all, if I wanted to just put audio in, like I just did a moment ago, we'll notice that if you go to interactive tools, though, it's no longer there.
Oh!
It's gone.
What do we do now?
Yeah, so where is it located now? Because that's one of the big things. If I did it this way before and I still want to keep doing it that way, Mark, how do I do it now?
Yeah, and the basic difference is now they have these mashup tools in Blackboard 9.1. If you've seen our series on 9.1, if you go to build content, over here on the right, there's a series of different mashup tools. And this has allowed Wimba to bring their tool in as a mashup.
Correct.
So now it shows over here on the right as a mashup, but the real benefit is now in the item.
Yeah.
Now when you create an item, if you've used the mashup tools before, you'll be used to this new last button, the third row of tools.
Correct.
Where you can put in your YouTube videos and so on. Now, Wimba Voice Authoring is
correct, which again allows you to bring in multiple elements within the text box editor. For example, you could have that text of that objective or enduring understanding, and then you could actually have a little audio file embedded, some more text, another audio file, and so forth. Yeah. And including other elements too, whether it be uploading a Word document.
Yeah, anything you want.
You know, for example, give directions. Click on the link, right mouse click on the link below, and choose download the file.
Right.
So you can do a lot of different things. Again, allowing you to put multiple elements for instructional design purposes. How about it?
So if you'd used it before, new way, create yourself an item. Here I've typed out some text. Now I'm just going to go to my mashup, do my Wimba Voice Authoring, okay? Record my voice just like before. The player, the controller is exactly the same.
No difference.
Right there. Oh, got to give it a title.
You got to give it a title always.
Silly me. Hit submit. There's the thumbnail. So let's take a look at the student side there. So I'm just going to hit submit. Here's my item. So immediately you see the difference from what we showed you in the previous version, right? Is the player is right inside the item.
Yeah.
So in the thumbnail, you get this little play, and when you click it, you get this sort of kind of like a pop-up window almost. Comes up and shows it to you.
That's very powerful, but that isn't really where I think the most power comes from. The most power is that now you have the ability to put audio directly into the assessment side of Blackboard, where this was only available in content building.
Yeah, it was only available where you had the blue Add Interactive Tool button, which you don't have in the assessments. That's why they're calling it Voice Everywhere, right?
So basically now, since it's everywhere, that means I have that mashup capability directly into my assessment side. So why don't we go ahead and show an example of that, Mark?
So here we have a spelling test, right? Student goes into the spelling test, begins the spelling test, and they're presented with a Wimba audio player.
There you go.
See that? Spell the word fantastic. You did a fantastic job today. Fantastic. So the student hits play, they hear the audio, and then they type their answer, right? Fantastic.
And again, I'm using this example because I have a lot of elementary teachers who are saying, boy, wouldn't it be great if I could actually record my voice and have them spell the spelling word directly in Blackboard.
Yep.
So this is one of the features that you can actually do now.
Yeah, so I tell you what, I'll spell it wrong. All right. And I'm going to submit my test. Let's take a look at my feedback here. And there again, I get the player. I can play it over again. Yep. I can see what I typed and what I should have typed.
Correct. Yep.
So, and you've really never been able to do this. I mean,
nope.
Unless you got really heavy technical way of doing it.
Yeah, well, you can use it with the
luck.
Wimba tool. Yeah. You'd have to upload other files and so forth and record with different tools. But again, why don't you show them, Mark, how easy it is to record, to create a test question very similar to what we just did. And again, it doesn't have to be specifically for spelling tests too. This might be for world language teachers that are looking for students to actually do translation.
Yeah, anything like that. So I'm going to edit this test, okay? And standard test canvas, and you can use this in any question type you want.
That's
you
correct.
could even like match voice to voice if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Kind of be a little bit weird, but you could do it. So let's do, the standard one we did there was like a fill in the blank style question, okay? I'm going to go to fill in the blank. And the key here is just knowing how to get to the mashup tools. Now, if you've created tests before, you'll probably be familiar with the fact that only the first row of tools shows.
And I still don't understand why they do that, but they decide to hide the second row. You have to click that little arrow.
So you click the arrow. Yeah.
Frustration points. But
and there's your mashup tool. So your key to finding where you can put voice, which is basically everywhere, is finding that mashup button.
Yep, wherever that icon is available, and basically anywhere where the WYSIWYG editor is available, you will have that.
That was the beauty, because when I first saw this, I thought about, in the test, there's no third row of tools.
That's right.
But it just happens to be on the second row,
Right.
so it worked out well. So yeah, you would go to Wimba Voice. Here's your standard Wimba Voice recorder, okay? And here I can hit record. What we're going to do, world language?
Yep, let's do a world language example.
Okay, so, all right, so we can do... Give the English for the French word bonjour. Bonjour, monsieur. Comment ça va? Bonjour. That's it. Now my students can play that and spell it.
And again, give it a title, Mark.
Hit submit, and I basically, now I've got to put in my correct answer,
is yes.
which is hello. I would do feedback in a real scenario. I'm going to skip the feedback in this case. And there I've created myself
a new test question.
A new test question. So now I can test on translation, pronunciation.
Yeah.
I can do IEP modifications on tests. Anything, you need voice for, you can do everywhere now.
And not just on the online testing, Mark.
Right.
Now we have the ability now to create a voice assignment too within the Blackboard environment. No different than you would create a regular assignment, but again, the students could actually record their voice to this and submit it. So it's not just for the teachers.
That's right.
It's also for the students too. Why don't we show an example of that?
Yeah, so the same rules apply, right? If you can find where the students can find the WYSIWYG tools,
that's correct.
Then they can record their own voice. So here we have an assignment, and it's just a basic example, type or speak your response, okay? Just like a regular assignment, student submits, they have the submission area, there's that second row.
They can
record their own voice.
That's right. So they can type it out, or they could record it. And you think about the possibilities there for special needs students, students with different learning styles, adaptations that might be needed for certain assessments.
Right.
The possibilities, I think, are really endless here. I'm really excited about this too, because this allows you to go in and actually listen to each individual student from the Grade Center and then actually grade them.
Yeah, and previously the only gradable voice was the voice discussion board. So now you're opening up every assessment tool, every collaboration tool, any tool that has the WYSIWYG tools.
The voice author,
you're good to go.
Yeah. And again, just to talk about that too, why don't you hit cancel there? As Mark said, anything that has the editor, so even the journal,
now I have a journal,
the discussion board, the blog, any of those tools that you might be using in the collaboration environment, students can have the ability to either type or record their voice.
Yeah, so here I have a journal. Student would go to create journal entry. They actually have all three tools in the case of the journal tool, but again, mashup tool is there. They can record their voice there.
Yeah, so they have lots of different options now.
And those are gradable too now.
Yeah, they're gradable too, yeah. So it really, really opens up the door from both the teacher side and the student side. And when we say voice everywhere, we mean everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think I've found anywhere that it isn't yet.
Well, as long as you have the WYSIWYG editor.
Right.
That's the key.
So I guess safe assignments.
Safe assignments is about the only one right now.
It's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, or any other third-party tool that is not part of Blackboard.
Yeah, like StudyMate or something like that.
Something like that. So, hey, we hope this is helpful for you all. We want to thank everyone for, again, watching another episode of Mark in the Morning.
BSN Homeroom.
Don't forget, voice everywhere.
Ooh.